Clock.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
In like an hour.
Oh man, we good. Ready? Just do the 3, 2, 1 thing.
Oh man.
Oh, I'm doing it? Okay, so you ready, Bill?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so in 3, 2, I'm not clapping. 2, 1.
Yo, we got the hottest podcast in the nation. TechDontSleep.com. Follow us today.
Can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie. Ain't no Chico, just be smooth. Can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie. Can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie. Can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie. Ain't no Chico, just be smooth.
Welcome, y'all. It's your boy Bill McCleskey in the building with Tech Don't Sleep Podcast. We got another good one for you, and we have some special guests here in Middle Tennessee. We're right in downtown Nashville, Tennessee at the National Entrepreneur Center. And we have Ryan Peirce and Reed Ezell, right?
Happy to be here.
With WeFunder.com. Now listen, I'm going to read what WeFunder is all about. Is that okay? Because I want the people to know, and obviously this podcast is in place to help entrepreneurs and business owners use technology to grow and scale their business, right? So Ryan, you are the lead for Southeast expansion at WeFunder. Is that correct? Okay, cool. So WeFunder is an investment crowdfunding startup that allows anyone to invest in startups that they love. On the platform, founders can raise anywhere from $50,000 to $5 million in capital. Is that right? From accredited and non-accredited investors. And founders are also able to set the terms of the campaign and keep the raise on a timeline. What am I trying to say here?
Yeah, let me build on that. At
Okay,
one line
please,
on the
help me
cap
out.
table, right? They have complete control of the terms of the deal, and it doesn't eat up their cap table, which makes it VC friendly.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Ryan.
No problem.
That's why you're the lead, man. By the way, I haven't read through this, so shoot. But I mean, this is a cool way because I know I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs who say, I need some money, right? I need to grow my business. I have this idea. I want to build this platform. I have a solution to this problem, but I need money to make it happen. And it's tough to go out here and find angel investors, to find folks who are actually investing in companies, and to go to your friends and family. And some of us, we can't go to our friends and family because they ain't got no money either, right? So this is another solution to kind of fill in the gap to make that happen. So we're going to talk to you guys more about WeFunder and the gaps that you guys fill in and what you're trying to achieve here with this company. But before we do that, you know how we do it. We always like to play a game, all right? So this game is called Fact or Fiction, all right? Now, Reed, don't look at my screen.
I'm looking up. I'm looking at what.
Okay. Like, please, don't let. All right. So here's the rules to this game. I'm about to make up the rules. All right. So this game, I mean, you just have to tell me whether whatever I say is a fact or a fiction. It's fact or fiction. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let me see how smart you guys are in the realm of technology. All right. The first computer programmer was a female mathematician.
I saw the answer to this one sitting right around.
So how does it work? Is it just yes or no, fact or fiction?
Fact or fiction?
I'm gonna say fiction.
What'd you say, Reed?
It's facts.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
That's good.
Here's another one. Someone actually paid $10,000 for invisible artwork.
I'm gonna say fact.
I'm gonna go fact.
That is a fact. What in the world?
Was it an NFT or something?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like an NFT. They just framed something. I mean, okay, well. All right, number 3. People say, bless you when you sneeze because this was often the sign of a plague in medieval times.
I'm gonna go
Free in a row.
fact. Probably have some more on that, but yeah.
That is a fact.
Okay.
That is a fact. All right, number 4. Writing code is the only thing programmers know how to do. That's funny.
Fiction.
Fiction.
It's fiction.
Although it seems that otherwise somehow.
Yeah. All you know how to
important
do is code. All right, number 5. About 90% of the world's currency only exists on computers.
Huh.
Fact.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll go fact.
That's a
First
fact.
read, that was conviction.
Yeah. All right, so here's a non-technology.
Don't trust the conviction in my voice.
Number 6, bulls get mad when they see the color red.
So is this half tech?
Yeah, it's half tech.
or-
This is
okay.
half tech, man.
Got it.
I mean,
Fact.
fact.
I'm gonna go fact.
That's fiction.
Okay, so it's movement. They get some around.
They're actually colorblind. No, I just made that up. I don't know.
No.
All right. So here's a non-tech one again. Cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis.
They used to tell me this in grade school, so I'm saying fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go fiction. Yeah.
Fiction. All right, it is fiction. Yes. Number 8. The first computer virus was not meant to be harmful.
Fiction.
Fiction.
That is a fact. All right, here's the last one. OMG can be tracked back to 1917.
That's definitely fiction.
Yeah, I'll say like in its current terminology, yeah, I would say fiction.
Yeah, I would think so too. I don't have the detail. This was sent to me, guys. Okay, so but OMG, I mean, Sierra, can you tell us right quick? Do you remember what that was about?
I think that was fact.
It is a fact, but I'm saying like, what's the?
Did it mean the same thing?
Did it mean the same thing in 1917?
I
Like-
think they said it meant something different, but it became a trend for upper class people to say it because it meant like a status. It was a status symbol or something like that, and then it just came back around.
Like people are on the Titanic, like OMG.
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy, man. As a side note, y'all, we went down to Broadway and we were releasing this video about me going down to Broadway, and I'm just talking to folks like Nashville tourists, and we're asking like these simple tech questions, like what does IT stand for? And people are like Microsoft. So it's kind of like, it's interesting to know. Like a lot of people don't know like some simple things about tech, but it's good to know you guys know something. All right, so I found this article, which is kind of relative to y'all's business, to WeFunder. And the title of the article says 14 best ways to raise money for your startup or a small business. And I just want to kind of pose a question to you guys, like, because I know you guys probably get approached, or you see a lot of entrepreneurs who have ideas and want to build a company. What is probably the biggest hurdle that presents itself to entrepreneurs when they want to raise money?
Well, I would say the biggest hurdle is like building your pitch out, right? Like you've got to present value. People aren't going to give you money just because you think you've got a good idea, right? So I think one of the biggest hurdles is always like stepping out of yourself and understanding like who are you going to raise money from,
Gotcha.
And understanding who your audience is.
Yeah, I would build on that. Ensuring that the message is right is critically important. But I think a real hurdle is galvanizing the network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you have one or not, we're all 6 degrees of separation from somebody who has access to something, right? So the key is how good can you build out a strategy and a structure that can leverage the power of your network no matter what the size is. That's what it comes down to.
And I think, one of the things that, regardless of how you're going to raise money, whether it's crowdfunding or through angel investors or with bank debt or anything, right? Creating the sense that there's an opportunity that you need to, that people need to capture, right? Creating that sense of urgency, that is a really important step, right? That's one of the things that we really try to do with equity crowdfunding, right? Is, we're another tool in the tool belt of founders, but we're helping you create a sense that like this is an opportunity that people need to seize right now. You can't invest in this next week, right? It's right now. It's with me.
Yeah.
And creating that sense of urgency and belief is really this.
Yeah. So developing that pitch, and I like what you said, man. Creating a sense of urgency, because that's a skill set that an entrepreneur can develop, not only when they try to raise money, but when they're selling their product or service, when they're trying to form strategic relationships in the industry that they're in, and things like that, and trying to grow the business. So, being able to simplify a pitch and deliver it clearly so that people understand the opportunity, the value, and then the sense of urgency is really key. So I saw some things in here which I thought in this article that were kind of non-conventional. Obviously, they listed crowdfunding, they listed credit cards, angel investors, but what?
It's an expansive list, isn't it?
Well, it's 14 things, you know what I'm saying? So, pay as you go. I mean, This one stood out to me because as an entrepreneur, you know, and a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs. Sometimes when a buddy of mine wants to start something, they say I need to raise money. I say, why don't you go get a customer first, right? I say because if your customer pays you and you have customers that continue to pay you, you're actually raising money from them. You know, have you guys ever told anybody like, hey, you don't need to raise money, or maybe you should try another route or do something else first?
Yeah, well,
proof of concept or whatever.
I'll let you go first, Ryan. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think it's important to note that you need capital at different stages for different things, right? Like when you're trying to prove your concept, that's not really the time to raise money. You may think you need to raise money. You need a structure and a framework that can provide value. So that's the first key, right? Once you've done that, you also need enough capital to actually reach a point where you can attract the attention of angels and banks and stuff like that. You have to reach a certain milestone and threshold for growth to prove that you can grow some more, right? So that's usually where the capital injection is needed. So a lot of founders may come to us at their early stage like, oh man, like, you know, I sell cookies, I just like bake like 24 and stuff like that. You know, I need 100 million to expand all across the country.
That's
like,
an extreme example.
Yeah, like, well, you know, I guess tech, so I don't know, computer or something, right? But it's like, no, you're not quite there yet. You need to provide some value first, right? And build out a structure and a foundation to prove that there's a problem market fit and then a product market fit, right? To listen to that demand. So yes, is the long answer.
I think that it varies from industry to industry, right? Like in some industries, there's a lot of capital being thrown around. You know, all you need to do is throw together a 10-slide deck and say, like, I'm gonna tech enable, you know, I don't know, raising pigeons or something, and people throw money at it, right? Just, I mean, that's again an extreme example. But I think in most cases, right, before you really want to go out and raise money, you want to create some value, you want to get some revenue going, because that's how you demonstrate value. And if you go out and raise money before you've done anything, you're going to end up giving away more of your company than you need to before you've even started it up, right? You're putting yourself in a hole to start with.
But here's where I will, like, you know, add on to what you were saying, because it's critically important to note, like, crowdfunding is incredibly flexible, right? I mean, that range from 50K to 5 million like, can fit a lot of different companies, right? And effectively, a crowdfunding campaign is the most effective marketing push that you could ever have, right? So if you're smart, you can use a crowdfunding campaign along with what you've built, right, as a package deal of value to offer to both your customers and potential investors to give you that foundation that you don't already have, right? Like, it's one thing to say, I built this great computer like that's going to change the world, but I want to grant you an opportunity as a potential customer to be aligned with my financial success and grow with me, right? That changes the pitch from
now
can you buy it?
Don't get into WeFunder yet, man.
Sorry,
I didn't want you to go down that hole, but
I was catching the spirit. You saw me.
He said, catching the spirit. All right, so what do you guys think about this? There was something I saw in here as it relates to raising money. And you kind of alluded to this, Ryan, when you're talking about it's a marketing play, right? For like WeFunder or crowdfunding, but contest. And I saw this in here and I was like, you know, that sounds interesting. But have you guys seen that? Like, you know, companies creating contests and, I don't know, doing some type of, I don't know, you know, media blitz and things like that to draw attention.
Well, I think in the right context, right, it could be a cheap way to acquire customers and to get eyeballs.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's ultimately, you know, that is the first step. It doesn't matter how you do it, but like before you got to get eyeballs and customers looking at least or using your product. So I think for the right product, a contest can be a great way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read the article, but you know, the other side of contests is like, you know, pitch competitions or companies like offering capital, and that can be, you know, if you tailor the earliest stages of your company to, you know, compete in a contest where there's some capital available, right? That can be, you know, the thing that allows you to, you know, quit your part-time job and focus on it, right? Like that's another way that contests come into play. It can be really
so what do you guys think about? Because I mean, I got buddies who, you know, when they start raising money, you know, that was like 90% of their efforts, right? You know, and it looked like it to me. I mean, they were like dedicated to allocating time to raising money, whether that's presenting, whether that's, you know, researching, making calls, you know, contacting folks, networking, pitch competitions. And for me, I thought, well, don't you need to build your company? But I guess there's another side to that because, from my perspective, it seemed like, well, you need the money to build the company, but, once you get the money, then are you going to stop raising money or, you're going to do, how does this work? You know what I mean? It's kind of an interesting thing. So, but what do you guys think about that? Because at the end of the day, it's like you may put all this effort out to raise money and not raising money. You may do all these pitch competitions and prepare for them and travel and do all this stuff and not win. So
I think there's a lot to unpack there, right? Like, especially for early stage founders, they may come into like an incubator type space, an entrepreneurship center type space, and see all these different people in these programs and these pitch competitions. It's easy at the idea stage to think, oh, well, everyone else is doing it. This is what I need to do to actually, grow my business, right? And you can, if you're not careful, you can get inside of a real trap where you get inside of the space of trying to sell propagated value that you haven't created, as opposed to creating value that can actually attract capital if you need it, right? Yeah. When you consider that most businesses aren't venture backable, right, or investable from a high growth standpoint, there's really a mismatch from a program standpoint and even an infrastructure standpoint to support businesses that aren't on that high growth trajectory. So most people don't need it. Most people probably shouldn't be pitching, and they should be building a company.
I think that's an important point, right? Like everyone gets caught up in the story of like an Uber or what's a more manageable, like more like analogous to more people's experience, but like some sort of high growth startup that has a demonstrated market or someone founded by someone who already has the connections to funding, right? So they're trying to model themselves after that. Yep. I think most times it's like, let's take baby steps, right? And it is a trade-off every time. I mean, I think oftentimes the answer to your question is, should you be fundraising or should you be building? It's like both and it's probably just going to take a lot of time in the beginning, right? Because those two things are going to support one another, and it's always going to be a dance and a trade-off between the two of them. One of the things that something like crowdfunding does is allow you to like reach a bigger universe faster. And again, it's another trade-off, right? If you can get some smaller investors interested, maybe some bigger investors come along. But that's not to say that doesn't take hard work as well, right? Like you're not, small investors aren't idiots. They're not going to invest in things that don't provide value. Yeah, right.
So I like that. So it's a dance. It's like, should I be raising or should I be building? You should be doing both. Yeah, I got you. But you said no. He said most people, most entrepreneurs need to go build a company.
Well, I think that's from the standpoint, I'm a former 3-time founder, right? I've been through the ringer, and maybe it's just a little bit jaded, but I'm a firm believer that there are times to build and there are times to grow. Right?
But you said something pretty interesting, man. I mean, you said most companies aren't, don't need to raise money. Essentially, that's what you said, right?
Yeah, in two ways, right? Most companies aren't venture backable.
Okay.
That was really the emphasis, right? Yeah. So they get inside of these spaces where there's an accelerator program or incubator space, right? They're seeing these pitch competitions, and truthfully, more often than not, those are usually backed and supported by angel investors that have networks to VCs. So if they don't realize it, but that's the beginning, that's the base of the pipeline, right? And then they see that and think that's what I need to do. It's like, no, you build lawnmowers, right? That's a very capital intensive business. Yeah. Right? Your manpower is oftentimes going to be determined by your machinery and stuff you don't need VC right now. You got to perfect that, right? I'm just talking, but
no, I get it.
So it can be a give and take.
Gotcha.
To Reed's point.
Gotcha. Let's talk about WeFunder, man. I'd be interested to know. Now, what's your role with Reed?
My role, I'm kind of a test case, right? My role is Nashville City Lead. So that's the first time that there's been someone focused on a given market. Basically, we're testing out the idea that what if we really focus on Nashville, really try to talk to everybody in town? Can we create a little sonic boom of regulation crowdfunding here in Nashville and support the ecosystem here, but also build along with it.
Yeah, gotcha. So let's talk about WeFunder, how it started, why it started, and who's an ideal entrepreneur to use the platform.
I'll take the why and how, and you want to go on the second half of that. So WeFunder was founded in 2012. There's a law that was passed just after the Great Depression in the United States that prevented small people without a lot of money from investing in early stage capital.
Yeah.
Now the reasoning behind that was to protect them from, your grandfather from putting his life savings in a bad investment and it disappearing, right? But the reality was that with the tech industry the way it is, and the nature of entrepreneurship had really changed, and people that aren't making $200,000 a year couldn't invest in companies. So the founders of WeFunder actually wrote a letter to Congress saying, we're serial entrepreneurs. We can't invest in our friends' companies, right? Like we believe in these things. Like this.
Now, who regulates that though? Like
the SEC.
But does that not apply to friends and family, like a friends and family round? Because if my grandfather wants to invest $50,000,
you can.
Want to stop.
But if you're going to go out and be selling securities in a company, you can't be marketing that to someone who's not a registered angel investor,
accredited investor,
right? An accredited investor. So what they said is this should change. There should be a mechanism for everyone to invest in these growth opportunities. And the Jobs Act passed in 2012. Regulations to change that law and allow for regulation crowdfunding were included there. WeFunder was founded then. It took 4 years, May of 2016 until the regulations were actually approved by the SEC and operable. Yeah. But what that allows now is for unaccredited investors, basically anyone that has an income, to invest in early stage. Now there's some limitations around how much you can invest with what, if you're making under 100K, you're going to be limited a little bit, but anyone can invest. And WeFunder is a marketplace for early stage investment. So we are saying we believe that founders, not just founders that have VC backable businesses, but any founder should have a chance to be able to raise capital from anyone who believes in them, right? So in 2016, the cap was $1 million. As of March of this year, the cap became $5 million. Some other regulatory changes that made it make it more sense to invest in early stage ventures for both the founder and for the investor. Like Ryan said, now you can invest. You can wrap up all of your crowd investments into one line on the cap table, so you're not having to sign off a bunch of $200 investors if you want to be acquired or something. But now there's this marketplace, and it's growing really quickly. WeFunder is a social benefit corporation. We are created for the purpose of democratizing access to capital. Right, 80% of VC happens in California, Massachusetts, and New York. There's a lot of good ideas between those two coasts. There are a lot of founders that don't have access to traditional angel and VC networks. A lot of those founders happen to be women and people of color who don't know the last generation of billionaires, so they're less likely to get investment from this generation of billionaires. And we just believe that there are lots of people creating value, and the public at large should have a chance to invest in those things.
Yeah. So with the new law, and that came into fruition, 2016 you said?
May. Well, the law passed in 2012. The regulations didn't go into effect until May of 2016.
Okay, so are they able to, or is crowdfunding the only platform where non-accredited investors can invest in a company?
There are more than one crowdfunding platform. WeFunder is just one.
Right, I understand that, but I'm saying crowdfunding is it though. Like you can't.
Now, obviously, so there are other types of crowdfunding, right? A lot of when we talk to founders, oftentimes they'll be like, "Oh, so you're like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, right?" And in that case, you're not offering a security, right? That's what's regulated.
Gotcha.
In that case, you're offering basically someone's paying forward for whatever widget you're creating, and if you can raise money doing that, go ahead and do it. Like there's nothing against that. This is a different way of doing it, right? You are offering a small slice of your company,
right?
Or you're offering a small slice of a loan. You're taking on some debt that's crowdfunded, and we believe that it is just a really powerful way to raise funds, right? You're turning customers into champions and advocates for your company, because they're no longer just buying your service or or downloading your app, right? They're investors, right? And they're going to go tell their aunts and uncles and their friends, like, go download this app. right?
Yeah.
You're turning your customers into your best advocates.
Yeah.
That's where the marketing part of this comes in. It can be a great way to get, people are paying you for customer acquisition instead of you paying for ads.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's a paradigm shift, So Ryan, who are you guys looking at to connect with?
Looking at connecting with a lot of people, right? So this is kind of where Reed and I overlap. He is he's the Nashville lead. I lead Southeast expansion.
Okay.
So it looks like connecting with different accelerators, angel networks, VCs to get deal flow, and also, potentially provide resources for founders that are raising, right? So in terms of Nashville, where, Reed and I are kind of, overlapping, I'd love to connect with the Black Nashville Chamber, right? The Nashville Capital Network as well,
Sure.
right? A lot of different groups, a lot of different, anyone here in Nashville, right? A lot of different startup pockets. We want to provide more visibility towards this resource for founders, and we also want to let investors know as well, this is a viable means for you to diversify your portfolio, maybe spread around a little bit of risk, and get involved in some early stage companies.
Yeah. But if you're thinking about like an archetypal company for WeFunder, right? Like obviously we would say everybody, but
would you really?
Yeah, I think there's an argument for everybody. Now that's actually not true, right? Like if you're a highly capital intensive company that you need to raise $50 million to build the platform, you could raise $5 million, but you're probably better off spending your time going and finding $10 and $15 million checks.
Sure.
And there's probably a network for that. But if you're a company that's in the seed, pre-seed, A stage, looking to raise $500,000, a couple $100,000, a couple $1 million, doesn't all have to come through us, right? You can do traditional fundraising alongside of RegCF. We are just another tool in the toolbox that people should be looking at.
Yeah.
If I was, obviously WeFunder is born of the Y Combinator out in the Bay Area. There's a lot of kind of tech DNA involved with WeFunder.
WeFunder was in Y Combinator?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay.
It came through Y Combinator in 2013, I believe. But like an archetypal company, so there are a bunch of companies that are like, fintech SaaS that have been successful on WeFunder. A lot of companies that are offering, a tech-enabled product coming through. But also we've raised, $11 million with 26 different breweries, right? These are local brick and mortar businesses, right? That have a local following, and that can be a really powerful way forward.
Well, people love their beer,
Yeah, everybody.
I'll put some money on that.
Yeah, well, it's not, you're a beer. You got like a brew club or like a club associated with your brewery. Like, go offer this to your biggest fans and say like, you want to own a piece.
Definitely.
Like they're going to invest, right? And all you need is like 100 people to invest $1,000, and you got $100,000.
Yeah.
Another company that we've based here in Nashville that we've raised with is Earth Rides, which I think people have seen around. Right? It's an all-electric alternative to Uber and Lyft. Get to ride in a Tesla or a Polestar. Like, that's pretty sweet.
Raised over $700,000.
Yeah, they raised $700,000. They're about to. They raised that before they went to launch in their second market. They're launching in Austin this month. There's another company down in Franklin right now called Pencilish. They're a crowdfunded animation studio. It's people who used to work for Disney, Pixar, and they're going to crowdfund an animation studio. Their investors are going to be able to decide what animation projects they work on, right? So it's a way to engage those customers, but also like brick and mortar, Main Street stores, right? It's not all equity financing, right? If you want to build out your restaurant, you need $200,000 to do that. I think this is something that we haven't seen happen in Nashville yet, but it's something that I really want to see happen. It's like, you need $200K to build out your restaurant. We can crowdfund a loan for you, right? You offer a modest return on the investment to the customers, and say they get a free glass of wine when they come in.
Wow.
Right? Like, who's not going to want like front of the line treatment at their neighborhood restaurant?
Yeah.
There's a lot of flexibility, right? Like the good campaigns are able to mix and match and align the terms in a way that is attractive towards their potential customers, right? So if you give me a $250,000 investment, as a free, glass of wine or something. If you give me 10,000, then I can do this for you, kind of thing. So there's different ways that you can mix and match and engage your customers and turn them into investors.
So the investors can get, a piece of equity, right, in the company that they invest in, but it can also be. Did I hear you say converted to debt, or
we'll do loans. You can crowdfund loans as well.
So there's different types of WeFunder campaigns, right? There's equity-based ones where you can, use an investment contract like a SAFE or a convertible note, right? And there's also debt-based, campaigns. Which it was a long contract. So no matter whether it's equity or debt, the founder has complete control in the terms of their investment.
Like Ryan said, right? Like, not you're trying to build a restaurant. Like, unless you're going to build 100 restaurants, that's not like that's not necessarily an attractive equity investment, right? The restaurant industry is really hard. Like, that's not a high growth thing. Yeah. But there's still a place for the retail investor to invest in that. And what equity crowdfunding also does, and I think is really powerful, is it's opening up like a different set of reasons to invest, right? VC and angel investors are great, right? They are powering the creation of new companies that are going to be the future of the country, and we want to support those companies as well. But not everything is a high growth company,
right?
And we want to open up a pathway so that, like, any company you're trying to create, your friends and family, your closest supporters, the people that are going to benefit most from the creation of that restaurant or business, have a chance to say, I vote yes. I vote yes with $100. That's the minimum investment on WeFunder, or 1,000 or more.
Yeah, that's crazy. So how do you guys make money? How does WeFunder make money?
Yeah, so we take 7.5% of the overall raise.
Okay.
We take that on the back end. However, we waive those fees on checks that are $25,000 and above, right? We want to be in the business of helping founders raise capital. So if we charge off of every dollar, then it doesn't really help out.
So the first 25,000.
Not exactly, right? So it's per investment. So for
any
example,
check over 25K, we don't take any.
Oh, I got you. I understand.
Exactly, right. So that incentivizes you. If you know any rich people within your network, any VCs, they usually make a lot of investment, right? Like a lot of dollars to put in. So we will allow for you to keep 100% of those large checks, and we just take 7.5% from the small.
The way you can think of it is like, we are a regulation crowdfunding platform. You can go get a bunch of $25,000, $50,000, 100 checks from angel investors. You can do that without us, right? You don't need us for that. So we're not going to take. That's not the value we're bringing to the table. What we're doing is saying, you go find those checks. Those people are going to invest in you because they believe in you, and because they invest in you, the crowd will believe in you, and that's the value we're bringing. Is because what we're allowing the crowd to do is say, oh, look, like this so-and-so who's made 10 investments in this industry, invested 50K, 100% of that is going to the founder. 100% of that is going to be the investment that they've made. But there's probably 1,000 people that'll see that and say, oh, well, they're like, that's worth $100, that's worth $1,000, and we take our fee from that.
What's the average investment of the for the investor on WeFunder?
So, go ahead.
Well, the minimum investment has historically been, the minimum is $100, right? But the average investment has been $1,000.
Okay,
And the average raise is about $300K. Now, we have, the company that always pops
up.
up.
That's pretty good. I mean,
but
how many companies are using the platform?
We've got a couple hundred right now. I think a little below 300, if I'm not mistaken.
I think there are 900 companies that have been on the platform. Now, when we talk about the average raise, though, we're really in a different universe now since March, when the regulations changed, right? The cap was $1 million, now it's $5 million. So WeFunder raised $10 million on our own platform in May. Right? We raised that $5 million cap, and we raised there was extra room in a Reg D, more traditional raise beside that. There's a company called, one that always pops into my mind right now is a company called Curl Mix. It's
I think you mentioned that to me before, right?
It's a clean hair and skin products line marketed at women of color. They raised $5 million on the platform. So that average raise historically, we think, will go up.
Absolutely.
But it's on average, someone's investing $1,000, $300K. And in the instance of Earth Rides, for instance, there's nothing. They've raised, I think, almost $900,000 actually on the platform now, but they've gotten other investment outside of the platform that came around to them because they were raising on WeFunder.
Yeah.
Right, so it's also a way to raise the profile of what you're offering.
Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, it sounds like it's a really big marketing play. You know what I mean? Because if you can get some traction there, then you draw attention to what you're doing. You can attract bigger investors. Obviously, you got your customers involved because they're investing and all that good stuff. So what's, do you have traction in Middle Tennessee? Do we have, or are we looking for, entrepreneurs?
You know anybody
in
trying to
Nashville?
raise? Yeah. No, I mean there are a few companies on the platform. We're talking to a bunch more. I've only been with the company for a couple months, and I think I was looking at my list today. I've had 100 meetings in the last 60 days with founders or angel investors.
So let me ask you this then: if you had to identify 2 or 3 qualities or traits of an entrepreneur or a business that you think would be successful on the platform, what would it be?
So I want to touch on this real quick.
Yeah.
I say this a lot of the times in founders when we have meetings and we have calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need one of these 3 things or a combination of these 3 things to really be successful with crowdfunding, right? First of which, if you have the network to do so, having money lined up is really critical, right? So when I talk to a founder that has a network of angel investors or can roll some money in, that's nice because that can kickstart the campaign. But if you don't have that, it's important to also have a community to tap into, right? Your customers, some users, people that you can use to catalyze more traction for the campaign.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the most important pieces, because where there's users, there's value, right? If you can go to an investor and say, hey, I'd love you to lead my round. I have an email list and a social media follower that exceeds 25,000 people, right? There's some traction here. So money lined up if possible, community, and then also a strategy in play to increase awareness of the campaign outside of your immediate network, right? I mean, when you're raising money, and this is common whether you're going through VCs, angels, or even crowdfunding, we all reach a ceiling when it comes to our network, right? Where your family and friends don't want you pitch anymore. They want a regular dinner. They want you selling. Exactly. Hey, I got an opportunity for you. No, they don't want to do that, right? So you have to figure out ways to expand awareness of the campaign after you've exhausted your network. That looks like reaching out to different publications, speaking on podcasts, for example, right? Hosting your own events to expand awareness and bring more people to the campaign. So those 3 things.
I think so. I mean, the other thing is having a good investment, right? That's the most important thing.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you need to show that what you're offering is investable.
Oh, gotcha.
And the terms of your investment are good.
Value.
Right. If you're a pre-revenue company and you're saying I want to raise a $15 million valuation, that doesn't smell right. Right. So I mean, this isn't La La Land. This isn't magic where you gotta have rigor and a good investment, and then the hustle to build your audience and the ability to bring capital. Right.
Now, do you guys help entrepreneurs? Let's say somebody's got some money lined up. They got community, but they don't necessarily know how to navigate and make this successful in terms of strategy. Do you guys help them lay out a strategy?
Yeah, totally. So it definitely varies, but of course we're a lot more hands-on than you would think, right?
Okay.
So specifically for my role, I help Black founders navigate the crowdfunding process and raise successfully. So that's everything from creating the profile campaign page in a way that's attractive to investors, right? The terms that can kind of make sense, and also build out a strategy and a foundation to actually start the campaign and get that first dollar, right? The same can be said for our team.
And I think, I mean, we're in Nashville right now, right? And we're not only looking for people in Nashville, but I'm in Nashville. I am solely focused on Nashville. I had a call with someone in Chattanooga today, and I'm gonna have to hand you off because I'm focused in Nashville, right? So if you're a founder in Nashville right now, it's probably the only place in the country where actually there's going to be a person on the ground focused on on servicing you, and that's because we're testing it out here. Right? The idea is if we can really cover ground here in Nashville and build that momentum, then we find 10 of me in other markets, right? Yeah. And so it's actually a bit of a unique situation here in Nashville. But I mean, it varies as to how much you're raising and how prepared you are to raise. But we're there to help you navigate the process. Yeah. And we have we've done as a company, we have done this with hundreds of companies. So there's some knowledge there about this is a yes, this is a no. Now, there are limits to that as well. Like we're a marketplace. We're not there to pick winners. And you need, like, one of the biggest indicators of success on a crowdfunding campaign is like hustle. You know, you got to be there to execute. It's not, like I said before, it's not magic.
So you got to promote it. You got to get the word out.
It's not an easy process. But to Reed's point, we work with them in the initial steps to help them figure out what this looks like, right? And then from there, they take it on and then raise successfully.
No, that's beautiful. So obviously, if you are in Nashville, if you're in Middle Tennessee and you're an entrepreneur, how can they get in touch with you guys? Should they just go to WeFunder.com, or is there another?
If you're feeling inspired by this right now, like, you can go to WeFunder.com/raise.
Okay.
It'll tell you about the process. There's a button there that says Start Raising. You can start creating your profile right there. And it only takes 15 minutes, is what we say, to get started. And if you do that, there's someone on the backside that'll receive that request. And if you flag that you're in Nashville, like, I'm going to that person all the time and saying, like, is there anybody in Nashville, blah, blah, blah. You can also reach out to us directly. My email is read, R-E-A-D, like a book, .ezell, E-Z-E-L-L, @wefunder.com. And, like, I'm here.
Hit them up.
Yeah.
Yep. Same what you said for me. Whether you're a Black founder in the Southeast, hit me up, Ryan @wefunder.com, RYAN @wefunder.com.
Man, that's beautiful. My wheels are spinning in my head, because I'm thinking, do I need to be on this platform?
We'd love to have you.
I was talking to a family the other day. They were like, man, they're actually, I won't name the name of the company, because they actually raised on a different platform, and I just reached out to them because they're in Nashville. I was like, hey, like, let me know if I can be helpful. Like, we believe in Reg CF. Like, if you need advice. And they were like, oh yeah, we had a good experience. They said their house had burned down like 2 weeks into their campaign. They like raised a $250,000 in the first 2 weeks, and then like their lives blew up, and they stopped, and they kind of, the momentum ended, right? That's kind of a good indicator of actually that, like, you need to be there pushing this along. Like, they stopped paying attention. But they were like, yeah, like, we love this. We want to continue. That these people are a CPG company. They're creating a food product. They want to raise continuously.
Yeah.
Actually, why shouldn't I say the name? It's called No Bake Cookie Dough, right? They're gonna.
Okay.
They are into regulation crowdfunding.
They're in Nashville.
They're based in Nashville, and they're like, yeah, why wouldn't we just be taking on capital all the time?
And they want to continuously raise. They want to always be raising.
Yeah, you got the campaign. I mean, we normally suggest, like, you should put a timeline on a campaign, right? Like you were saying, you don't want to get caught up in fundraising, right? You need to build product, right? You should be prioritizing your time. We usually say, like, 3 months is kind of the average run time.
That's why I have a sense of urgency. What's the sense of urgency if I can always invest?
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know if this is the right strategy. They're just really enthusiastic about it, and it got me pumped up too. But normally it's, you set a timeline, you're going to be kind of setting milestones along the way.
Yeah. We
usually say it takes about 3 months to, after 3 months you've probably covered the landscape and pulled in the capital that you're going to get.
Wow. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, if you are an entrepreneur, and I'm telling you, you at least need to go to WeFunder.com/raise, right? Just to at least get clarity on how this works. And if you're inspired, email these guys and connect. Hey, we appreciate you guys coming on. I know it's some value add there for the business owners and entrepreneurs who are watching this. So appreciate you guys coming through. I do have a gift for you. So I have a TechDontSleep t-shirt, and I have a black one, and I have a gray one. So who wants?
I wear black and white almost exclusively.
Boom! There you go.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So they're both large. So hopefully,
I'll go to the gym.
or just watch it once, man. Maybe shrink down a little bit. We also got to say thank you and what's up to our sponsors for our podcast launch event that's coming up August 27th. That's a Friday in Nashville, Tennessee. It's going to be at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. So I have 3 sponsors that I want to shout out: Comcast Business, Spectrum Business, and Wow Cable. Okay, those guys are going to be here. We appreciate you guys sponsoring the podcast launch event and the podcast for this particular quarter. So if you need internet, phone, or TV service for your business, reach out to the cable company in your area, and most likely it's Comcast, Spectrum, or Wow Cable. If you're watching this in the U.S. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Make sure you are following the YouTube channel, hit subscribe, hit like, comment, and let us know what you thought about this episode. And make sure you connect with us too on Twitter, IG, and we got a LinkedIn page now, right? LinkedIn, wherever you are. You know what I'm saying? We're not on Snapchat. Right, we're doing a professional dance on LinkedIn and Facebook. We got a cool Facebook group where we're doing some cool giveaways. So connect with us there and stay in touch. Appreciate y'all again.
Thank you for having us.
You got it.
Thanks so much.
We'll see y'all next time.
Take care.
Holla.